What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. And this video, well, this is my opinion or my review of the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air. Now, the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air, it's a smart ring, right? I think you've probably figured that out. But it is the world's lightest smart ring. So I hope you'll stick around to find out exactly what it is the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air does and how it can benefit you. How will it make your life better? Let's get into it. Okay, full disclosure, ULTRAHUMAN was good enough to send me this Ring Air for the purpose of review. However, they are not paying me to make this review, and they haven't actually reached out to me to follow up because I haven't made a review. I've had this ring for about 3 months now, and I've just been wearing it and gathering the data and seeing how it fits into my life. So I think 3 months is a pretty good time to see how this ring actually works and how it fits in. Okay, and also right off the bat, wearing this ring for 3 months, it gives me a good idea of how comfortable it is. And it is comfortable. So let me just get the price out of the way because I think this is either going to turn you off or maybe keep you hanging on to hear maybe the features. But the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air will cost you $349. And look, I know it's a lot of money. This ring does a lot. There's a lot of tech buried inside and it is a lot of money. But get this, the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air does not have a subscription fee. There's no recurring cost. So when you buy it for $349, that's it. You're done. You're not going to pay another penny. Oh, and get this, if you do use the code MATB10, you will get an additional 10% off. And of course, I'll place a link so you can get that discount in the show notes below. Now, I did say it is the world's lightest smart ring. ULTRAHUMAN claims it weighs in at 2.4 to 3.6 grams, depending on the size. The ring I chose, a size 11, weighs in at 3 grams even. So pretty light. And it is super thin. And I'll be totally honest, I forget about it when it's on my finger. Now, I am not going to keep putting it on and taking it off because it is quite tight on my finger, especially now at the end of the day. Now, when my hands are cold, the ring does come on and off fairly easy, but our hands swell. So you need to be sure what size you're buying before you actually commit to buying. And ULTRAHUMAN knows this. So before you actually buy the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air, you're going to order their sizing kit. And ULTRAHUMAN is going to send you this. And this is free. Basically, they send you a bunch of plastic rings to try on. It looks like this. Now, you may know your ring size, but I would still encourage you to take this free sizing kit because ULTRAHUMAN does say that their ring sizes might be a little different than the ring sizes that you're familiar with. And ultimately, what they want you to do is to take a ring, figure out what finger you're going to wear it on, wear it for 2 nights, just so you can see like how much you swell during the night or shrink. And then you can be sure that you are ordering the right size. Remember, inside the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air, there's like lots of tech. In fact, there is a PPG sensor, a non-contact medical grade skin temperature sensor. There is a 6-axis motion sensor. There is red, green, and infrared LEDs for monitoring your heart rate and red LEDs for measuring your oxygen saturation. Okay, so there's a lot going on inside. Now, as far as materials, it seems pretty well made to me. So this outer shell is made with, I'm going to try and say this without laughing because it sounds a little over the top, maybe absurd, maybe just marketing speak, but this is what they say. This outer shell is made from a fighter jet grade titanium, and it's reinforced with a tungsten carbon carbide coating. And basically that's to make it like resistant to everyday wear and tear. Now inside there's a hypoallergenic smooth surface, and that's just to keep it comfortable. And as I've already said, it works. It is incredibly comfortable. So you're probably wondering, why do I want a smart ring? How is it going to benefit me? Well, ideally, I think a smart ring is for someone that doesn't want to wear a watch all the time. Now, if you are familiar with my channel, if this isn't the first video you've seen, you know that I like to run. In fact, this whole channel is like a running channel. So I use a lot of trackable tech. In fact, right now I'm like measuring stuff. I have 2 watches on my right hand and I have another 2 watches on my left hand. But when I'm not testing a certain device, I don't always like to wear watches. I'd rather not wear them all day. I'd definitely rather not wear one at night. And yet I still want to track all that data, like my heart rate, my HRV, my oxygen saturation. Like, I'm interested in that. And if you are like that, if you just have a curiosity about how your body works, maybe how you can get better sleep, then the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air could be for you. Oh, I completely skipped over the colors and this card is like looking right at me. This actually comes with the sizing guide and there are 5 different colors. You've got raw titanium, aster black, matte gray, space silver, and bionic gold. I have the raw titanium. Oh, and also to back up, let me just get this out of the way. To back up, I do wear this on my forefinger, and ULTRAHUMAN and other reviewers have said, don't wear it when you're lifting weights. But you know what? I don't like being precious with something. Like, I don't want to have to take it off because it's so fragile just because I'm lifting weights. Guys, I have not taken this off when I've lifted weights. And yes, when it's on my finger, I can feel it scratching against the dumbbells. And if I look at it, yeah, it's getting a few scratches. It's getting a few scratches, but not nearly as scratched as I would have thought for how much I have lifted weights while wearing the ring. It's actually standing up to that kind of punishment very well. So as far as the unboxing experience, ULTRAHUMAN does put out a very premium product. I mean, it looks really nice. It's nice solid cardboard. You open it up, the ring is just nice and centered, and it also comes with a charging cradle and a USB-C to USB-C cord. Now, that charging cable, the cord just plugs in there, and the Ring Air just sits right on top of the charging cable. It takes 90 minutes to go from 0 to 100%, so less time than that if you're not charging it from 0. And ULTRAHUMAN claims that it has a battery life of up to 6 days. Now, in my experience, I have been charging this about every 4 days. I definitely could make it to 5 days, but I do get a little bit of battery anxiety. Like, I don't want it to get down too low, and then I miss out on like a couple hours of heart rate data. That would be crazy. So I have been charging it every 4 days, and basically, like, I'll take it off when I come home from work. I'll put it on the charger while I jump in the shower, and then I'll put it back on after dinner, and then it's fully charged. Oh, if anyone was wondering, it is waterproof. Aside from charging it, I don't take this off. So I have worn it in the hot tub, I've worn it in the pool, I definitely worn it in the shower. It's waterproof to 100 meters. So yeah, it's going to stand up to whatever you want to throw at it. Oh, for those of you that are interested, it is compatible with both Android and iPhone, but you do have to be running iOS 15 or Android 6 or later. So while we're talking about our phones, it's important to know, and actually fairly obvious to know, that the Ring does connect seamlessly with the ULTRAHUMAN app. And the app itself is extremely good. Now, it does make sense that the app would be connected to the Ring because the Ring doesn't have any screens. There's no way to tell the data that's coming off of the Ring without the app. And the app is very in-depth. In fact, if I had one negative thing to say, it's kind of like a backhanded negative thing, but the app is fairly complicated, or at least it's very detailed. But I do have to say that now that I'm used to it and I've been looking at it every day, I am really impressed with the detail that the app shows me the data that the Ring is gathering. First of all, I want to show you this at the top, because you can see it says that sun exposure is recommended. Now, this is one of the things that I've added on to my app, and it's free, but you don't have to add it. And this is a vitamin D tracker. So basically, you input how much sun exposure you're getting each day, and it will let you know like how much you need in order to get the correct amount of vitamin D. Now, if I did just want to click on that, it will open it up and there's some kind of graph. But if I'm totally honest, I haven't logged any sun exposure time in the app because it's just not something that I'm interested in, which I know is a bit of a luxury, but I live in Florida and I get plenty of sun. In fact, I would rather not be in the sun if I had my choice. Moving slightly down, we can see we've got my weekly report, and that is just something that the app tells you at the end of every week to make sure you're staying in line with all your goals, like your sleep goals, your activity goals. But we're not going to get into that because that's really not important to you. What I want to show you first is the movement tracker, and the Ring is tracking our movement, and we're going to talk more about how accurate like the step count is later on. But if I open it up, you can see it's got the movement index right across the top, and today has been pretty good because I did go for a run. So far I've had 16,592 steps. If I scroll down, you can see my active hours, which so far has been pretty active, and how they judge active hours is if you take 250 steps within an hour. That's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty minimal. You can still be fairly stationary and still get that active hour. Scroll down a little more, we got my workout frequency, and yeah, this doesn't have a rolling 7-day average, but if I just scroll back one day to yesterday, we can see here the workout frequency is a lot more consistent. I had 400 minutes last week, but we'll move back up to this week and then come back out of that. Now, the movement tracker is at 100, and it will start at 100 every day. And then if you don't move as the day goes on, that number will go down. And we'll see why mine is still at 100 right now when we come down to the next thing, stress rhythm. Oh, but we're going to skip that for just a second because right below the stress rhythm is my caffeine time frame. And this could be one of my favorite things about the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air. So after you wear the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air for a week, it learns when you go to bed, it learns when you wake up. And based on those patterns, it knows when is the best time for you to consume caffeine. And if I just move this to the middle, you can see that my coffee started at 6:32 a.m. That's when it says I should start drinking coffee, or at least without it taking any negative effects. And then at 11:42 a.m., that's when it enters my caffeine restriction window, and that's where I am right now. So basically it's saying that I should avoid caffeine at this time of the day, all the way until I go to bed, if I don't want it to negatively impact my sleep. Now, of course, I can click this little widget and open it up, and it just shows my caffeine restriction window. It also provides a few recommendations of downers to aid sleep. So we've got warm milk, almond milk, lemon balm tea, decaffeinated green tea, anyway, and a few others, but you get the idea. Don't drink caffeine close to bed. I know that's obvious, but the point is that it tells me when I need to stop avoiding caffeine, and I find there's real value in that, especially if you have trouble sleeping. Like, I don't want to introduce anything else that is going to stop me from sleeping as well as I can. Okay, let's go back up to the stress rhythm, and if I click on this and open it up, it gives me a stress rhythm score of 92, which is actually pretty stressed compared with the last couple of days. You can see I've been quite a bit lower, but if if I draw your attention to the stress timeline, it's showing me that all the hours that I've been stressed, stimulated, relaxed, and sympathetic activation. Now, if I scroll down just a little more, and you see this graph here with the white and then the blue and then the red, well, basically the white is when I was asleep. When I woke up, I went for a run, and that's where the high blue lines are. And if we scroll back up, that's where I had sympathetic activation. And then after that, I've been showering and eating breakfast and going around, and we can see that that's when I've been in a stimulated state. Okay, let's move on just a little bit more. I want to scroll down. Oh, sleep debt. This is something else that I want to show you. Now, right now it says that I'm negative an hour and 12 minutes. That means that I have had an hour and 12 minutes more sleep than I actually needed last night. So if I open that up, it gives you a graph, and let me click on the weekly section, and you can see there's been some bad days for me. Like, I've had some times where I didn't get a lot of sleep, and basically these are travel days, so I'm not surprised. But you know, for most of the time, I'm getting a lot of good sleep, and I'm trying to balance out that sleep debt. I mean, I wouldn't know that if I wasn't wearing the ring. Well, yes, I would know, because I'd feel tired, but it's good to see a numerical value added to it. Now I want to show you the dynamic recovery. So let's open that up. It gives me a score of 85, and today is actually pretty good. 85 is good for me, but basically it gives you a number for your recovery, like recovery of life. So I'm a runner, I go out, I run quite a bit. So it lets me know how much I am recovering based on several factors, and those factors are my resting heart rate, my skin temperature, my HRV averaged over 7 days, my sleep index, and my stress rhythm score. It takes all that and lets me know my recovery status, which is something that I'm really interested in as an active person. Now, if I scroll down just a little more, we can see my HRV interpretation, and it looks like my HRV is trending up. Now, when I first got this ring, I was definitely sick. I was recovering from a cold, and that went into like the first couple weeks of actually wearing the ring. So we can see there is an upward trend of my HRV, which I like to see. And the Ring Air does measure your HRV at all times. Now, as well as measuring your HRV at all times, it also measures all your activities throughout the day. So we're talking steps, your calories. It does measure your VO2 max. It gives you a cardio age, which right now it's telling me that I am 44. If you're wondering, I am actually 47. So that's a good thing. I mean, I'll take it. I think my Garmin makes me quite a bit younger than that, but still, 44 is better than 47, so I can't complain. Now, the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air does track your activities. Well, it kind of tracks your activities. You know what? But before we get into actually activity tracking, let's talk about sleep tracking and step tracking and how accurate is that? Because actually, you know, when I'm asleep, I'm not really keeping track of everything. Like, I kind of know when I go to sleep, I kind of know when I wake up, but I don't know everything in between. So during a lot of my testing, I've also been wearing my Apple Watch Ultra to sleep, so I've got something to measure the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air against. And on this night, you can see that the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air recorded 7 hours and 35 minutes of sleep, and the Apple Watch Ultra measured 7 hours and 47 minutes of sleep. So that's pretty close. On this night, the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air measured 9 hours and 10 minutes of sleep, and the Apple Watch Ultra measured 8 hours and 51 minutes of sleep. You know, not that close, but I think close enough. Remember, we are looking at trends over time. Now, there was one night where I wore all my watches and the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air to bed, and on that night, the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air measured 9 hours and 10 minutes of sleep. My Garmin measured 9 hours and 11 minutes of sleep, so very similar. My Chorus measured 9 hours and 15 minutes of sleep, also very similar. My Apple Watch Ultra and my Suunto both measured 9 hours and 17 minutes of sleep. So from the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air measuring 9 hours and 10 minutes, the biggest difference was Suunto and Apple Watch at 9 hours and 17 minutes, and I think that's pretty good. As far as steps go, I think this is tricky. I don't really trust anything that's measuring my steps correctly, just because I'm doing so much where I'm jarring my hands, and maybe that's recording steps. I don't know. But we're going to take it at face value for this evaluation. On this day, the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air measured my steps at 14,308, and the Apple Watch Ultra measured my steps at 14,380. So I think that's pretty close. It's doing a pretty good job if we are comparing it to the Apple Watch. I actually don't know how accurate my Apple Watch is, but you know, as I keep saying, we're tracking trends. Now, on this example, it's a little different. The ULTRAHUMAN Air measured 15,929 steps, whereas the Apple Watch Ultra measured 17,410 steps. So that's a little bit of a discrepancy, but still close enough for government work. So all in all, I've actually been pretty pleased with how accurate the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air is. That is, until I start tracking activities. So remember, when I'm just like sitting around, or I'm sleeping, or I'm not being active, the ring is on my finger and it's very still. It's not moving around, like there's nothing jostling it. But when I do an activity, it is not as accurate. In fact, when I look at this run, we can see outdoor running, and it measured 10.52 miles. That's because it was my phone that was actually measuring the distance, and that's why we have a GPS track. But if we scroll down, look at this. Do you see these workout zones? It said I was 44 minutes and 54 seconds in zone 5. If we scroll down to this heart rate chart, look at this when I start clicking on this. look at these numbers, 166, 179, and then it drops here at the end to 111. I'll tell you exactly what's happening. This is picking up my cadence while I'm running. And this is the only example I'm actually going to show you, but this happens every single time. The Ring never picks up my heart rate well when I'm running. Now, it's a little different when I'm on an elliptical or when I'm on a bike. It does seem to do that because like there isn't as much impact, as much jogging, but running, it does not pick it up. Now, let me just go back to the main screen and I'm going to see if I can find it right here. Okay, you've got your quick start and you've got breath work and you've got workout. Now, if I just click on breath work, it gives you a lot of different breath work activities. And this is designed to calm you down. So if you're feeling stressed, this is probably what I should do before I go to bed. But if you're feeling stressed, you put this on and it will walk you through a breathing exercise. We're not going to do that right now. If I click on the workout, you can see that it comes up with workout mode in beta, which is a good thing because I'm sure ULTRAHUMAN is working on this to get more and more accurate data when I'm actually out there running or doing activities. But if I go to continue, it gives you a bunch of workouts that you can actually log using the Ring Air. And basically it's just going to be reporting your biometric data, so your heart rate, your temperature and all that. You do have to start an activity to make it actually start exactly when you want it and end when you want it, but that's just like any device. Now, the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air will detect an activity, and the next time you open the app, you'll get a little drop-down window that says, we detected an activity. Do you want to add it? And you can either say yes or no. Now, in my experience, the activity that it detects is not as long as your actual activity that you've been doing. So if you really want to track your activity with any accuracy, you're going to have to start it yourself. But as I said, it's really not that accurate, especially when running. But look, you're probably using a GPS watch anyway when you're running, so it's not that important. Look, I don't want you to buy this if you are using it as an activity tracker. It is not made for that. It's made to measure your everyday activities, like life, like heart rate, HRV. It's made to tell you how you're sleeping, to give you insights into your stress and recovery and how you can get better at all these things. Because there is a lot more that the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air does. And I've just scratched the surface in this video, but I think you've got the broad strokes and I think you have enough to make a decision, like if you want one or not. Remember, you can use my code MATTB10 to get 10% off right away. And if you have any questions, I want you to drop them in the comments and I'm happy to answer all of them. I mean, I've got the Ring. If there's something I don't know, I can always test it out and get the answer for you. So now I want to hear from you. Have you ever thought about getting a smart ring? Is the data that it gives something that you place value on? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment and let me know. And with that, it's Matt B. This has been, I suppose it's been my review of the ULTRAHUMAN Ring Air. Guys, I've got to tell you, I am happy I have it. I like the data that it gives me, and I like not having to wear a watch to bed every single night. Okay, that's it. Be kind, be happy, run well. See you in a couple of days.